from Mr. Sricharan on all that Ashoka has to offer. We will be taking questions through the session. We'd request all of you who've joined in to please use the chat window. We've earmarked the last 10 minutes or so for questions, and we'll do our best to take all of them. But please keep your questions coming in the chat window. With that, Mr. Sricharan, thank you so much for joining us, and over to you. Yes, we can see your screen. It's up.
All right. My name is Charan. I head the outreach for Ashoka University for the South region. I'm based out of Hyderabad. I manage the entire South region. We're, of course, outreach people spread across the country. Firstly, thank you for joining in. And I'm very happy to share whatever little or more that I can share, shed light on not just about Ashoka, but also the framework of what we call as liberal arts and sciences or liberal education, because while there is a lot of growing awareness about what actually liberal arts or liberal education means, with it we also understand that there is a little bit of uncertainty or unawareness, right? Misinformation, or not enough information about all of these things. So the agenda is pretty much to shed light on all of those things. We are a liberal arts and sciences university. It's a tag that we've really shedding away from, which is liberal arts and liberal arts, because a big misconception is that a liberal arts university typically means only arts, humanities, management, and concerned specializations, whereas we've been a sciences university as well from the beginning, from the inception of Ashoka, and heavily moving towards sciences as well, especially with funding coming in the Advanced School of Computing, Trivedi School of Biosciences. There's a 300 crore investment that has come in through Havels for the management school. So there's a lot of investment that's happened across board, right? So we are a liberal arts and sciences university. We offer programs in BA honors and BSc honors. These are the two major degrees that we offer. But under those, there are multiple ranging from computer science, math, physics, chemistry, biology, economics, political science, a bunch of other humanities programs, psychology, and of course, many interdisciplinary majors, right? First and foremost, I think if you'd really want to understand what liberal education framework looks like specifically at Ashoka, it's that you have the freedom to choose what you want to study. So when we induct a student, for instance, this year we're inducting about 1,050 students for the undergrad program. Right now, each of them enter as an undergrad student in year one. So there is a specific framework in terms of foundation courses. There are different courses that are offered by different professors, and students can pick up different subjects and then reach at a point in the second year where they announce what their major specialization is going to be and what the minor specialization is going to be, right? So it's not just a freedom to choose what you want to study, but you're also making a very informed choice of what is it that you want to study and why. For instance, let's take data sciences as a area of interest, and that's where I want to go. A student can do computer science with math and go to data sciences. A student can do math and economics and go to data sciences. A student can do computer science and economics as well and go to data sciences, right? Similarly, with my economics and mathematics, I might go into industrial economics. Someone else goes to data sciences. Someone else is going eco-finance and going into banking or consulting. Someone is doing economics with policy and getting into a different field, or economics with psychology and getting into behavioral economics. So point being, there was a misconception that you tend to do everything at in a liberal arts university and not really delving deep into the specialization, but that's something which we believe is the exact opposite of what we actually do, because it's a 4-year program. It was always designed to be a 4-year program, and now under the NEP we actually have a full blown 4-year program which has been designed in a certain way that you can finish one major specialization and one minor specialization and upskill yourself with what we call as life skills. So all of this put together is what a typical liberal education framework at Ashoka looks like, right? So I could like run you through some of the student profiles. It's for you to just have a look at, just get an idea of what an average profile at Ashoka looks like. Now, she's a history international relations major, but got into product and strategy, initially in Twitter, now in Spotify. Uh, Clubs and societies, internships. Again, this person is a physics major with math. If you notice, again, internships are a common factor. A lot of research projects, part of the club, different clubs and societies. Now he had a much more simpler psychology, economics major. Not many clubs and societies, but again, a lot of internships. Now, if you notice one common thing at Ashoka, it's going to be a combination of majors and minors courses, your life skills, your clubs and societies, internships, research projects, all of these which are very well stitched as a part of your learning system, right? The professors you work with will connect you with so many other professors that they're working with in terms of research, in terms of internships. And that's how your network starts building, and that's how you start building a profile outside of your academics and within your academics. A little bit of a snapshot. Oh, I'm sorry, something has gone wrong with the orientation of this, but we're talking about the highest 100% students placed here, of students who had opted for placements, about 260 plus companies who came to hire Ashoka students both for internships as well as full-time placements. This year, the highest offering has been 42.5 lakh per annum, and the average salary was 13 lakhs per annum. So this also gives you an interesting bite that people at Ashoka are now also ending up in mainstream job roles, mainstream companies, because a tech platform or a consulting platform or whichever kind of a company looks for somebody, let's say an engineer, a business person, but also a liberal education student. There's a place for a liberal education student for a certain reason because of the kind of skill sets that they bring. These are some of the companies that have hired from this year. In terms of, you can see some major companies, all from banking, finance, management, consulting, tech. Research is a huge part of the Ashoka way of learning. Research is optional for students to do, but it's a big part of the way you pursue any specialization, whether it's philosophy or whether it's chemistry. Research based learning is going to be a part of your learning setup. If you can see, again, about 60 to 70% of students at Ashoka, irrespective of whichever field they get into leadership management specific roles, right? Whether I'm in the tech space or media space or any other space. But majorly, consulting has always been one of our biggest recruiters from year one. But then there's edtech, banking, finance, development, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the industry specific hires. There's a detailed placement report on the website, just to make sure everything is transparent and you can dig much deeper into the kind of roles and what kind of things Ashoka alums and students are ending up doing. Internships at Ashoka, by the way, are also credited for. So the internships that students do every summer, they're also credited. So it's a part of their academic curriculum. It adds to the credits. We have about 70 plus international partners. This includes Stanford, Harvard, Cambridge, Yale, Berkeley, UPenn, University of British Columbia, York, London School of Economics, HEC Paris, and the list is a long list and a very illustrious one. And the idea of the partnerships are that you can do a semester exchange or a summer program faculty exchange, research exchange, or shadow programs. There are about 100, students every year who go to these universities, study there, come back, and their credits are mapped. And this is purely on merit. It's not one of those that if you come to Ashoka, you'll be in Dubai and Melbourne and this and that. It's purely on merit that students go every year. This is a little bit of a snapshot. We are 11-year-old young university where we're still in our pre-teens, and we have only about 5,000 alums. But if you look at these numbers, these are usually outcomes are measured either by two things, right? Either you get in the job force or you're getting into the highest in higher studies. And out of about 5,000 plus students, as of now, we have about 70 students who've gone to Harvard, 54 in Columbia, 71 in Oxford, London School of Economics, more than 100 students. And these are only some of the universities we are talking about. So that means there is something that is happening in the ecosystem, in the way of learning, in terms of personality development, in terms of curriculum, in terms of exposure, right? Where students are ending up in certain kind of job roles as well as universities. Deepa, do you want me to continue giving a little more information, or are there any specific questions? Because if that's the case, I can keep going on and give some basic information out until then.
No, we'd love to hear more, but there's just a quick question. The placement statistics were very, very impressive. I mean,
Yeah.
just wanted to quickly clarify, it came up in the chat as well. You're talking about all of these placements from the undergrad things that you're representing, the
Yes,
undergrad
yes,
courses, all
yes,
of it.
yes, yes. This is the undergrad program. We do not include the masters and the YIF in these numbers, right?
No.
Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, that was about the placements and higher studies placements so far. Again, scholarships in the Indian setup in the education system, scholarships have not been given that kind of a place, right? The moment you end up with scholarships and enter Ashoka, or the kind of work that you do, there's more amount of scholarships that you have, so you're scoring, it also adds to your profile, right? So there are a bunch of in fact there are a few more big ones that already scored some scholarships this year, but these are some of the names. If you also notice, it's not just the scholarships, but also the range of the subjects. Somebody's got a fellowship with PhD Computer Science at Cornell. Someone's got an MSc Public Health in McGill. There's somebody with astrophysics, neurosciences, management, international and developmental economics. So there is a huge diversity in terms of the subjects that these students are ending up with some prestigious scholarships as well. The structure, however, is a 4-year program. You end up doing your foundation courses, which is your first year. You also do some of the foundation courses in the subsequent years, but majorly it's your major courses and your minor courses. In your majors, you do about 12 to 16 subjects in the span of your 4 years. For it to qualify as a major specialization, and for a minor you do about 6 to 8 subjects for it to qualify as a minor. If you do 4 subjects, it becomes a concentration. So for instance, I could have done a computer science major with a minor in mathematics and a concentration in economics as well, and it's structured in a manner that all of this actually starts making sense as you reach the 3rd and 4th year. So students have the autonomy. Of course, there are prerequisites and certain courses that you have to complete for it to become qualify as a major. But there are ways in which you can pick up open electives and do a bunch of other courses where you can actually diversify your transcript and diversify the chances in terms of your jobs, in terms of the kind of programs you want to eventually apply to if you're going for higher studies, because such is also the market. And I think the times of jack of all trades, master of none is no more a bad thing. I think we do require people who are jack of all a lot of trades, and that's what this allows. But in its core, again, like I was talking about, it's a lot about your life skills, right? Then I'll take up a question. I think somebody's raised a hand. There are 2 co-curricular courses which are mandatory, which have theater, music, dance, design, foreign languages, Indian languages, all of that. But apart from that, there's an option, like I was saying, research is not mandatory, but you can convert your degree into a BA honors research or a BSc honors research. But internship, independent study modules, all of these are also credited for. Yeah, I can take the question.
Thank you. Mr. Gaurav, you have your hand raised.
Yeah. So you mentioned about some student who has done graduation in physics, maths, and computer science. How does that work? Because as I understand, major and minor will be like one subject, maybe computer science major and maths as minor. But it was
Hmm.
three, right? Physics also included. So how does that
Are
work?
you talking about the profile or are you talking about an example that I've given just now?
You had given in one slide previously one example of
Mhm.
a student with three subjects actually, physics, maths, and computer science.
I think it
Uh,
was entrepreneurship. I can go back to the slide and I'll explain it to you all as well. You're talking about
yes,
the.
I think previous one. Yeah,
Yes.
physics,
So
math, and
she's a
computers. Yes.
physics major. She's a
Okay.
physics major with a minor ASP at that time. Now, that at that time, before the new education policy came through, it used to be a 3-year program, an additional 1 year, which was we used to call it the Ashoka Scholars Program. So in 3 years, she finished a BSc honors in physics. In the fourth year, she chose to do math and computer science. Now that is a minor specialization. Now what happens? How do you manage to get mathematics and computer science is because when you would have done your physics courses, let's say you've done about 16 to 18 subjects in physics, there could have been 3 to 4 subjects which already fit into your math prerequisites. So if you do a couple of more courses, your math fulfillment is also done as a minor specialization. And similarly, computer science also it works like that. So there are certain number of subjects that one has to do for it to qualify as a specialization. If I had to answer your question a little more, simplify it a little more in the current state framework, right now a student can do a physics major with a minor in mathematics. It's tough, and in the current framework, it's tough for a student to do two minor specializations. It's not possible, which is where I was getting into. So typically in 4 years, a student can do one major and one minor, or one interdisciplinary major and one minor specialization. All the pure majors that you can see on the screen right now are also offered as minor specializations. For instance, a student can do a bio major and a chemistry minor, or a bio major and a economics minor. I'm just giving you examples that all of these majors are also offered as minor specializations. These all those asterisk ones are the ones which have a subject requirement, that is mathematics in grade 11 and 12.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Makes a little bit of sense. If
Yes.
you
Got it.
require
Got it.
more
Yes.
information, you can always reach out to me and I can delve a little deeper. Like I was mentioning, there are programs in pure sciences, social sciences, and then humanities. Uh, there are CS plus AI is a new major that we've started this year specifically. Apart from that, the other majors have been existent for a while. There's a new interdisciplinary major. Interdisciplinary majors are combinations that we think go well with each other, and there's a whole curriculum that's been designed around it. There is computer science, math, and economics, which is a new interdisciplinary major that has been announced this year. Right. Then, of course, bunch of other BA honors combinations, which range in English, in creative studies, media studies, economics, politics, philosophy, economics, and so on and so forth.
I'm going to quickly come in there. I can
Yeah.
see one hand raised.
Yeah.
Mr. Shailesh, you have a question for us.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for the informative session. I have two questions actually, if time permits. One is it necessary to have a minor? So suppose someone is interested only in biology,
Yeah.
can she, do multiple courses within biology, such as computational biology, life sciences, genomics, etc.? Or is it necessary to have two different subjects as majors and minors? And second is, what is the typical profile of an incoming student from an academics slash extracurrics or co-curric
Yeah.
standpoint?
Yeah. Very good question. A student doesn't have to do a minor specialization. right? There is only an option to do a minor specialization. So if a student wants to dig only their teeth into biology, that's fine. So they only do a BSc honors in biology and they get done with it. What happens is, though, let's say you want to get into computational biology, there may be certain courses that they would have to take up from mathematics because computational biology might require applying a lot of mathematical subjects and principles and things like that. So in that process they might do end up doing courses from a certain subject, which is why we say each subject is also very interdisciplinary in nature, right?
Right.
But otherwise, they can stick to just one major or minor specialization is not necessary. For instance, somebody's doing biology and with the intention of doing neurosciences. So they might still have to pick up certain subjects from mathematics or psychology, right?
Got it.
So
Got it.
yeah, yeah. So, but again, they don't have to, let's say, do these many number of subjects for it to qualify it to be a minor specialization. They could just pick it up as subjects and electives because it helps aid their process in moving towards computational biology or whatever subjects. What was the second part in terms of the student profile? Yeah.
Incoming
Uh,
profile.
yeah, yeah. So I'll just get into that as well. Anybody specifically for computer science here? If in case there is, our computer science program structure, this is how it looks like. Your first year is foundational mathematics, there's core CS principles, advanced specializations in machine learning and data sciences, and then there's experiential learning. And of course, there's a CS plus AI major that has been introduced, which in case students instead of machine learning data sciences want to explore towards AI, then that's another area of focus in our computer science program. I'll get into student profiles. Give me a little while. I'll just run you through these slides because I think the student profiles will get, or what kind of profiles we'll look at. That slide will cover the entirety of it. Uh, right now, we have about 250 plus faculty. I think it becomes very important. We have a great curriculum, all of that is great, but who really is delivering this program, right? So about 90% of them are full-time faculty. The minimum requirement at Ashoka to be a faculty is that they need to be PhD holders, but not just that, but also be conducting active research while they are at Ashoka. This is how a lot of students are getting employed in terms of research assistantships, teaching assistantships, access to other faculty, and so on and so forth. Right. So there are some very interesting names. My suggestion is go to the website, uh, do a filtration based on departments, see the kind of faculty, the background that they're coming from, and so on and so forth. And that'll help you assess the department and the kind of the level of academics that's there. Someone else's hand was raised. I can take up that question.
Yes,
Hi, that's not a question. Can you see me, guys? Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Hi. Can you see me? Yeah, hi. I just wanted to add a little bit. Actually, there was a parent who was asking about a major and a minor. I'm so sorry, Srisha. I know you are talking about Ashoka. I'll just add something more about Ashoka. A couple of my students have graduated from Ashoka, and this major, minor, this particularly for the parent who asked if you don't want to do minor. I'll give you a very basic example. It completely depends on you whether you want to garnish the course with a minor or not. It's the child's preference completely. But what happens is, and what gives more, what adds more experience and depth to a child's overall learning at Ashoka is how interdisciplinary it is. A kid who was studying computers, as in a BSc major, was also studying a philosophy minor. And soon after he completed his undergraduate degree, I just won't talk about that. He got a very good placement, but I would also say that it added a lot of value to his overall learning. Because whenever we used to talk about that, why did you take a philosophy major, and how is it helping? I mean, I hear his experiences now. He keeps on saying this thing that, ma'am, he's working with something which is data analytics and now moving into AI. So time and again, he keeps on telling us
proxy management. What is it? We came to know in the demo. Quick, yeah. Pause. This due date is something I feel we're just adding new. I mean, we'll keep it in the roadmap.
I'm going to
but just calling out
request
that
everybody else to
sort
please
of immediate
mute.
next delivery.
Sapna, if you
That's
have
fine.
admin
Okay, like it
access
is
to
just you
please mute
settle the due
people.
date right from the UI itself, correct? And couple of email triggers.
Miss R, yes, thank you. Mr. Charan, back to you. Smriti, thank you for that quick
thank you,
update on the
thank you.
minors. Thank you for that. Mr. Charan, back to you. You were
Yeah.
going to take us through student profiles.
Yeah. So typically, again, if you look at it, Ashoka is probably one of the most liberal, democratic student-run campuses that you'll find in the country right now. There are about 70 plus clubs and societies. Students find their own tribe outside of their academics as well. Name a club, name a society, it exists. And you think you want to start something and it doesn't exist, you can start one. So right from student organization, leadership roles to sports to bunch of other things, dance, music, animal welfare, mental health related, farm, batter, film, name a thing, it's all there. And that's the kind of range that we also sort of expect. I'm not saying all of them that we expect to have like such massive profiles and that kind of diversity. What we are looking at in terms of students is also uh, academic seriousness, extracurriculars, how are they presenting their thoughts. We have our own assessments. So there's aptitude, there's as well as an on-the-spot essay and then interview. This is a little bit of diversity. If this is for students, parents to also understand the scholarship potential of in Ashoka. This year specifically, there were scholarships worth almost 120 crore, about 120 crore for 25-26 batch. About 45% of students are on scholarship and about 22% are on 100% scholarship. And this year we have a 29 state representation, students from 16 countries. So also when you're looking at overall development, you're looking at how much you're learning through a diverse background, right? Socioeconomic, cultural, geographical, gender diversity, all of these, which are extremely important for any top-notch university. This is the breakup for scholarships. This is financial aid scholarships. If your family income comes in any of this range, this is from 0 up till 65 lakhs. That's the amount of scholarship percentage one can get, one can secure. So this could be an important statistic just for you to understand. Of course, we just don't look at it as black and white as this. If you want to apply for additional scholarship because your requirements could be different as compared to someone else in a similar bracket, that is also looked at in very much of a detail, and a scholarship can be obtained. Again, student profiles, like I was mentioning, academic scores. So we look at academic consistency. Your 10th, 11th, and 12th predicted grades is what we are looking at. Either we are looking at improvement in your 10th, 11th, and 12th, or a certain level of consistency, right? There is one personal essay. It's not a statement of purpose. It's a very important part of the application form. I know some universities talk about it, but Ashoka really, really looks at these essays very seriously. It's for us to understand, what does your world look like? How do you reflect and actually are able to look at that world and help us understand, right, how, what your views are on it. So there's one personal essay. There used to be two until last year. Now we've cut it down to one. Your extracurriculars is really not about, I know a lot of schools, they're doing a great job in sort of giving you a lot of bunch of things, exposure. But really what we're looking at is your organic involvement in any of these activities. So sometimes there's an obsession to get a certificate for what you're doing, right? But it doesn't always have to be a certificate. You could be doing gardening or interested in insects or, baking. You have an Instagram page or a YouTube page or things like that. Just provide any information that supports your interest of what you're doing. But of course, having said that, sports, participations, conferences, leadership roles, management roles, any hobbies you've taken up seriously, all of these, community service, all of these come under non-academic engagements. But again, it's important to have organic engagements. There's a lot of students who are preparing for JEE or NEET, and they just have one or two activities. Just talk about that in the most honest way possible, and that's fine. There's an additional question on books that you've read and a book you'd want to recommend to a friend and why. So if your kids are not much of an avid reader, would recommend you to sort of push them in that direction. The reason why is because there's a lot of reading based learning that happens at Ashoka. All the research based learning that I was saying. So there's a lot of research papers, journals, read, come back, write, discuss, all of that. So it's a habit that one needs to inculcate. And then, of course, we have the aptitude assessment and the on the spot essay, and then we do a screening. So we're looking at a personality fit, a profile fit, and an academic fit. And there is place for all kinds of personalities. When we say we're not talking about one kind, which is why you'll find the silent one, you'll find the gregarious one, you'll find somebody with red hair, somebody who's buttoned up until there. But everyone has their own, thought process, and most of them are studying what they're really interested in. So these are some of the things that we are looking at. In that process, let's say you have certain interest areas, it's good to show some sort of involvement outside of the classroom within that subject. If that happens, then that also is of benefit for anybody. Registrations are open. Pre-registrations for the coming year are already open, and our application typically opens up in October. I was mentioning everyone. This year we've started, we're going to announce it officially. It's called the Ashoka Mathematics Challenge, which is going to be for students who are looking to apply for math, computer science, and physics specifically. If you do well, that means early decision. You get your decision by your application opens up in August. Your decision's off by about September, October, and a scholarship is also awarded to you. So this is going to be a lot more mathematics than your aptitude assessment, whereas aptitude assessment is more in terms of critical thinking, logical reasoning, and all of that. Right. So that's a little bit about the student profiles and our expectations.
I think that was
Have I covered everything?
extremely helpful. I think you've given us a great sense of what Ashoka is looking for. I especially enjoyed the personality fit, the profile fit, and the academic fit, and that all fits are welcome. There's one question in the chat window that I wanted to quickly pop up. There is Asha who's asking, what's a good UG course for biology students?
Yeah. Like I was saying, we have the BSc honors in biology specifically. In fact, I would recommend you can go search about the Trivedi School of Biosciences. That's the Center for Biology at Ashoka. So you can just see all the kind of research that's happening. We have students at Ashoka who are doing a bio major, chemistry minor, bio and math combinations. A huge range. We have somebody who's doing a bio in English. So there's a plenty that is possible. So my recommendation is please check out all the interesting work that's happening in the Trivedi School of Biosciences, and that'll give you a lot more understanding. So neurosciences, microbiology, all of those things will be there. The pre-registration link, is it possible that I can share it with Deepa or Ramya or whoever, and they can share it on the group?
Sure, we can do that.
Right, I don't have it like at a click right now.
No worries. We'll share it on the group. We'll pick it up.
Any other questions that we could take up?
I'm gonna throw the floor open. I have one question, but I'm gonna throw the floor open. Any other questions from parents?
I have a question, please. May I ask?
Yes, Ms. Aparna.
Is there any entrance examination, or would you accept the SAT score or any other Indian admissions test which you would accept for admission to Ashoka?
Right. Like I was saying, I think I may have run past it a little fast. The admission process is complete. Your application is complete only after you complete the Ashoka aptitude assessment. As you can see here on the screen, stage one is your online application. So we look at you submit your online application, which is free, and then attached to each round, there are 4 rounds to apply from. Right, this is how the rounds looked last year. So the dates will be similar this year. Round 1 could end sometime in November, round 2 in Jan, round 3 in March, and round 4 in May. Now, whichever round that you're applying to, it's always recommended you apply for earlier rounds. It's highly recommended. But whichever round you choose to apply to, you have to submit your online application. Your application is deemed complete only when you attend the assessment. Now, assessment happens on a specific date. For instance, in round 1, the assessment date was 7th December, which was a certain Sunday. Right? So every city, almost all the top cities, some tier 2 cities as well, are centers. So it's a computer based test where you'll have an aptitude assessment and an on the spot essay. Then your application is complete. That's when we do an assessment, and then not everyone gets shortlisted for the interview. If you do, then you finish the interview and the decision is given. Now, whether you have an SAT or not, the Ashoka assessment is mandatory, right? Then if you have any JE scores, CUET scores usually is not required, because by the time CUET scores come out, our admission process is pretty much done. Right. So if there is any other update, we'll let you know. But in terms of scholarships, there are a bunch of other test scores that we look at. Like, for instance, there's JE, ICER, CMI. All of these test scores we look at as well. But in terms of prerequisites, the Ashoka assessment is mandatory, even if you have an SAT. Having said that, if you have a good SAT score, it always helps, because let's say you have a bad day at the Ashoka assessment, we'll always take the better of the two. And as far as I understand, I think there's some college board scholarship that a student gets if they get a score above 1400, if I'm not wrong, or a certain score. Since we're also tied up with Ashoka, with the college board, if you're eligible for the college board scholarship, you can get the Ashoka. That scholarship will be applicable for Ashoka as well. Yeah. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Gaurav, you have a question. Is it about? Over to you.
Yeah. So looking at the BSc honors program that you showed, right, major, minor, it looks very good. But I just wanted to ask, how does it compare to the regular BTech programs that are offered by other universities? You have very good faculty, as you showed, flexibility of choosing major, minor. Where does it stand actually when you compare it to other top universities offering, let's say, BTech or other programs?
Sure. If you don't mind, I'll show you one of the slides where we actually talk about how a BSc is slightly different from your BTech program. Yeah. Let me just share that slide with you again. I think that'll be an interesting slide, not just for you, but for everyone. Yeah. Right. Typically, again, we are not a BTech versus BSc. We are not telling that we are better than BTech. What we are telling is that we are different from a BTech. We are telling why a BSc honors at a computer science at Ashoka is what is needed in the market right now, is also needed in the market, right? A Google comes and hires an engineering student, but a Google and a Microsoft is also hiring an Ashoka computer science student. Why is that happening? Because first and foremost, the Ashoka program is interdisciplinary in nature. So any of these tech firms or any other firms also know that a student at Ashoka who's doing a computer science major has also done courses in AI ethics, has also done courses in management and leadership, has also done something in humanities. Uh, and there is a certain kind of an Ashokan template of a student that these companies are looking at in terms of, so it's the interdisciplinarity of it. Two, the research component is extremely important. You're not just doing an official, a research program in the fourth year, but you're learning, research-based learning starts from year one itself as compared to a traditional BTech program. Right now, again, we're talking about global faculty. You can, like you yourself had mentioned, that the faculty and the diverse faculty that come to the program, that deliver the program itself is another one. And then the it's the also the fact that a computer science student at Ashoka can end up in a field like design as well, academy as well, policy as well, entrepreneurship as well. The range sort of increases because again of the combination of the previous other things that we were talking about. And then of course the other things that come into picture in terms of semester exchanges, summer programs, all of these things add up, and then clubs and societies. So it's more of a whole culture that is built around, or the personality that is built around your academics, while that being at the core. So maybe that gives you a little bit of an understanding of BTech. In terms of program, I think BTech is a lot more technical. And the BSc program here that we do at Ashoka is a lot more research and experiential. But having said that, you can do most of the things that a typical BTech student is expected of in their jobs currently, which is why I was telling what a typical computer science program would look like at Ashoka. But this is only a computer science program. Now we also have a CS plus AI major. So I hope that answers your question.
I think that was really brilliant. We've taken a lot of your time. I'm going to open it up for one more question with your permission, Mr. Charan. There's Radha in the chat window who's asking, how do you look at the Cambridge AS levels and A-level students in terms of their predicted scores? From which grade are they assessed?
It's the same. We look at 10th, 11th, and 12th equivalence. So we're looking at the minimum requirement is that they do 3 A-level courses. Now, the grade requirement is do as well as you can, right? We have students with 3 A stars who've gotten in. There are students with 2 A's, 1 B who've gotten in. There are people with 3 A's who've been rejected. It's a whole range, right? So we'll be looking at your 10th equivalent grades. Of course, there is a metric system, so it's not like a state board is looked at the same as a CBSE or an ISC or an IB or an A level. There's a whole system now around it. So we look at their academic scores just like we look at any other board. So the higher the scores, the better it is. The prerequisite is that they have 3 A-level courses at least.
3 A-level courses and as better grades as you can get. Thank you very much for that. We have time for just one last question, and we'll call time. Anybody else who's got anything that they want to table, or we'll let Mr. Charan have the final word.
So again, just to complete the previous answer as well, the predicted scores are given by the school office itself, right? So it is predicted grades. So a lot of times the conditional offers that we give to students, it says that the offer is valid provided your score is similar to the predicted grades. So yeah. Any other question? There was something about the placement opportunity. Should I run you through that slide?
I think we've done a fabulous job with placements. Yeah. I'm going to hand it over to you for final words. If there are 2 myths about Ashoka that you would want to place to rest in this forum as your closing comments, what would it be, Mr. Charan?
The myths, like I said in the beginning, the biggest myth is that liberal arts means arts, humanities, management. It's not. When we talk about liberal arts, it's art is the art of mastering a discipline. That's where the term comes from. Otherwise, we have so many students. Top programs, by the way, after economics, finance, in terms of numbers, every program that Ashoka offers is only when they're sure that they can offer 110% quality. But it's ecofin, computer science, biology, psychology, and so on and so forth. So we are a liberal arts and sciences university. So that's a big myth, that there is nothing to do with sciences. There's a lot to do with sciences. Uh, and then, of course, another thing that I already spoke during the discussion was there's a misconception that you're dabbling into a lot of things but not really delving deep. Whereas in definition at Ashoka, it says that it allows you to explore a wide range of subjects, allows a huge breadth of knowledge for you to explore. But in its core, you have to deep dive into the specializations that you choose into, which is why it gives you an option of a major and a minor specialization. So your degree is not at all getting diluted. In fact, what is needed as an order of the day is that it actually diversifies your academic experience and opens up a lot more opportunities. For instance, I'm a marketing person right now, but there are so many things that are important for me in terms of learning, in terms of branding and communication, in terms of analytics, in terms of understanding AI tools. How do I use a bunch of other things? And if a degree today offered me uh, the option, right? And these are skill sets that could be used by a school counselor as well, or a tech person as well, right? So it never limits you. In fact, it helps you sort of diversify, and that's what Ashoka aims to do. I'm sure I'll get 10 more other answers once the discussion's over, but I think these are a couple of things that I can, think on top of my head as of now.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time. It's been very, very informative. We've really enjoyed it. We'll pick up the pre-registration link from you and share it on the
Yeah.
Guiding Teens platform. We'll also
Absolutely.
place a recording of the session on the platform. I'd really like to thank the Guiding Teens team for putting this together. I think it's a fantastic opportunity to bring parents and Indian universities on a platform where they can interact very freely. Thank you to all the parents who've joined in. We have the next session on the 18th of July. We look forward to seeing all of you there. Mr. Charan, thank you so much once again. Very, very informative.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Deepa. Have a very good evening, and thank you all for joining. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. And thank you, Deepa. Thank you for doing this.
Pleasure.
Thank you to set
Thank
the
you.
ball rolling. Thank you so much. Bye. Thank you. See you guys later. Bye-bye.